Welcome to ETH Daily, a daily briefing on the latest in Ethereum. Here's your latest for Monday, May 11th, 2026. The Ethereum Protocol Cluster team gets new leadership, the Senate Banking Committee releases a new Clarity Act draft, and Aave amends an Arbitrum proposal following a court order. All this and more starts right after this message. ETH Daily sponsorships are now open. Reach over 10,000 Ethereum native subscribers every weekday. Learn more at ethdaily.io/sponsor. The Ethereum Foundation named new leadership for its protocol cluster. The Ethereum Foundation's research and development arm focused on scaling, UX, and Layer 1 hardening. Will Corcoran, Kev Waldenberg, and Fedric will co-lead the cluster, succeeding Tim Bako, Barnaby Monat, and Alex Stokes. Tim Bako, who spent 8 years at the Ethereum Foundation, stepped down from the foundation this month. Barnaby Monat, who spent 6 years at the Ethereum Foundation, also announced his departure today. Alex Stokes is currently taking a sabbatical. The incoming co-leads bring distinctive expertise to the role, Will through cross-team coordination on ZK EVM proving and post-quantum consensus, Kev as the head of the ZK EVM team, and Fedric through protocol security and the $1 trillion security project. Their immediate priorities are shipping Glamsterdam, advancing Higota scoping, and executing the Ethereum protocol straw map. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott released the latest draft of the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act ahead of a markup scheduled for Thursday, May 14th. The White House is targeting July 4th for House passage, with 4 working Senate weeks in June reserved for Senate floor consideration. The 9-title bill draws a firm line between the SEC and CFTC by distinguishing between digital commodities and ancillary assets. Ancillary assets are coined as network tokens whose value depends on entrepreneurial or managerial efforts. A new exemption called Regulation Crypto would allow ancillary asset issuers to raise capital from retail investors without full securities registration, capped at $50 million per year over 4 years, or 10% of outstanding asset value with a hard ceiling of $200 million. On DeFi, the bill defines a protocol as decentralized only if no single person has the practical ability to control, alter, or censor its operations. The bill's most contested provision, Section 404, prohibits covered digital asset service providers from paying passive deposit-like interest on payment stablecoin balances. The exact details of permissible yield programs will be left to joint rulemaking by the SEC, CFTC, and Treasury. And lastly, Aave Labs kept out Layer 0, EtherFi, and Compound posted an amended constitutional Arbitrum improvement proposal seeking to update the execution path for the previously approved transfer of 30,765 ETH frozen by the Arbitrum Security Council following the April 18th exploit. The amendment comes after a May 8th court order which authorized the on-chain transfer but required the ETH to move to a wallet controlled by Aave LLC rather than the originally proposed 3 of 4 Gnosis safe. The amendment only changes the recipient address and custody mechanics. The recovery objective remains the same, restoring RS ETH's backing within the Kelp protocol. Aave LLC will need to hold the ETH under the terms of the restraining notice from Kim versus DPRK and cannot use the funds until the court rules further. Arbitrum delegates can now vote on the amended proposal on-chain. In other news, Octant deploys $1 million into Octant V2 vaults, CalSwap reimburses its victims of its DNS hijack, and Geth releases version 1.17.3. This has been a roundup of today's top news stories in Ethereum. You can support this podcast by subscribing and following us at ETH Daily. Also subscribe to our newsletter at ethdaily.io.